please hang up and dial 911.
To contact the non-emergency to file a police report, dial 1. For the property crimes unit, dial 2. For the vehicle crimes unit, dial 3. For the records unit, for a copy of a police report, dial 4. For the magistrate's office regarding an arrested person, dial 5. For the property room, dial 6. For the crisis response team, dial 7. To speak to a service agent, dial 8. Press star to repeat these options.
Wait while I transfer your call.
San Antonio Police, I'm help you?
Hi, I've been calling around now for about 2 months. I hope maybe you can help me. I called this number 2 months ago because an officer gave it to me for police records. Y'all didn't give me a police record number. I've called a whole bunch of numbers, but currently I'm trying to file a lawsuit against the police for violating my rights. Who do I call for that?
Internal Affairs?
The FBI?
Internal Affairs for SAPD.
SAPD Internal Affairs. Thank you very much.
Let me give you the number.
Okay.
The number is 210.
All right.
207.
Okay.
7365.
Got you. 210-207-7365. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too.
You have reached the Internal Affairs phone system. Si necesita asistencia en español, oprime el número 1. Please select from the following options. If this is an emergency, hang up and dial 911. If you need the non-emergency number or require police assistance, please press 3. If you wish to file a complaint against a San Antonio police officer or to speak to an Internal Affairs sergeant, please press 4. For all other options, wait while I transfer your call.
Internal Affairs, this is Julie.
Hi, this is Matthew Wildman. I've been trying to call around for about 2 months now to see who I can get a hold of on pressing charges against some police officers for violating my rights. But I feel like the statute of limitations is just gonna disappear on me if I keep having to call people everywhere. I've already made a FBI police report, but they told me to contact you, Internal Affairs, at SAPD. I had a police officer stop by my house about 2 months ago, never gave any reasoning for it. I know exactly why he stopped by, mind you, but...
Okay, let me connect you to the sergeant. Give me a moment.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Internal Affairs, this is Sergeant Mondragon.
Hi, Sergeant. I've been calling around for about 2 months trying to get a hold of anybody. I've made a couple of FBI reports for Internal Affairs, but they told me to contact SAPD Internal Affairs on the matter. So
Okay.
I'm contacting y'all. I had an officer's...
What is your name?
Matthew Wildman. I live at 10...
M-A-T-T...
H-E-W. W-I-L-D-M-A-N.
I'm sorry, I got W-I-L-D...
M-A-N. Wildman.
Okay, and your date of birth? Almost your birthday.
Pretty close.
Yes. What is your address? Okay, and what's a good contact in case we get disconnected?
210...
Okay, and And you had an incident with San Antonio police officers?
Several incidents actually. For quite a while now, and I don't want to get back into several years prior, but I believe my family's being targeted now. But I have several proofs, several videos. Officers will come out to my house. I had a break-in to my house, a violent break-in to my house. Officers came out to my house, apparently didn't file a police report in any way. They chastised me about fixing my garage door, about fixing all the things that were broken from the break-in. My mother's house has been broken into down the street. This isn't what I'm here about. I'm here about officers not filing police reports when my house gets broken into, yet they're coming and harassing me for, I'm not sure why he came.
And who is this, and when did that happen, the harassment part?
I actually don't have his name or his badge number, but I did record him. It was, let me see the exact date for you.
It would it have been at 103 Shasta?
Yes. He was called from a USPS, the United States Postal Worker, called him, and I'm filing reports with USPS as well, but I'm getting less with them than I am with y'all, actually. It was on June 18th. He came out around 2 p.m.
Okay. That was of this year, 2024?
Yes, this year.
Okay. And tell me about it.
In the morning, I woke up because my wife woke me up, told me that the mailman was refusing to deliver mail. He flagged her down. We have an ongoing issue. My house was broken into, so I've been leaving my yard a little bit more of a mess to kind of block the windows with trees, etc., etc. But for the mailman, I cut the entire walkway and the entire walkway up to my house. I will have that presented in videos and evidence, etc., etc. But the mailman was refusing to deliver mail, which I completely understand for whatever his case is and whatever it is, but he was lying to my wife and lying to me on the reasons why. He's saying that we're requesting it. So I went out, found where he was delivering mail on the next block over, and I recorded him. On my phone, I asked him why he wasn't delivering the mail and why he lied to my wife. And he was just racist towards me and told me that he didn't have to deliver the mail if my yard looked like that. And I understood. And this person, he's talked to me several times prior over the years telling me to cut the grass. And I do. I explained to him why I leave my yard like that, and I cut the grass for him. I leave my yard like that so that people don't come up in my yard and they can stop breaking into my house because the police aren't doing anything about it. I don't know if it's my last name or what it is, because I know they have a lot of issues with my father prior. I really couldn't tell you, but all I can tell you is I've called the police 4 times, 0 police reports. My mom's garage was broken into, her car was broken into, my house was broken into twice. We also have a police report where we contacted a sergeant. No, we contacted a captain because my brother was in a car accident off South Florida. We contacted the police captain about this, and he said, well, it looks like the body camera was covered and obstructed by the officer's clipboard the entire time, so there will be no evidence for you. The sergeant, I guess, above the captain then stopped responding to our phone calls because the captain divulged that information to us. It's all recorded, which I'm sorry, I'm also recording this conversation with you, by the way. I didn't mention that. I'm having to record all of this, do all my own police report, detective work, and it's become frustrating to the point where I don't feel safe. I'm having my rights violated by the USPS, the United States Postal Workers, calling and weaponizing the police officers to come to my house. Police officers coming to my house, more or less, he was a pretty decent guy, but he was still threatening me. He was a decent guy, he was still holding the law, you know, getting to the points of A, B, and C and what he had to do, but he never exactly said why he was there. I never threatened the United States Postal Officer. I don't even know that guy's name. He knows my address, my name, and for some reason, I'm the one who's the problem. The guy who's not delivering mail. It's so frustrating. I'm sorry to ramble on to you, ma'am.
No, that's okay.
it's good for me to get some kind of reference of like everything that's been building up to this. But so the incident that you were most concerned about is June the 18th. An officer came to your house, and what is the complaint on the officer?
Well, I guess technically my main complaint is I don't feel safe. I've made 4 police reports that go nowhere. I can call police records, the number that they gave me, and I think that I don't have it here. It's a 210-207 number, but I've called them several times to get these records. No record was ever filed. The police incident was like labeled kind of as a stop by or a check-in, and that was it. No incident of a break-in was ever reported, and more or less if the 911, if those calls stay in log, y'all will have me calling in like 6 times on the 911 operator dispatch or whatever that is, calling in about my house being broken into.
Okay, I understand that, sir. But you said those were previous incidents, and
Yes.
so I get that you're explaining like the background and the history. But you said that on the 18th, June the 18th, you're concerned about the officers coming to your house, but you said that you were you don't feel safe. You don't feel safe.
No,
So,
I don't feel safe. I mean, if
but tell
officers
me
have,
about why. What did the officers do, say, or
they're
what
not
happened?
filing police reports on incidents where my house was broken into violently. Sledgehammers and bolt cutters left in my house. I have video proof and evidence that the cops didn't even want to review. Like,
Okay, and when did that happen? When did those incidents happen?
I'm gonna have to. Those are probably way out of the statute of limitations or whatever. Those were probably about 2 years ago. If I have to look up my records.
Okay, and so that's kind of, so I understand that you have that history, but tell me about June the 18th. What is it that you want to report that gave you that?
My
that-
rights being
about-
my rights being violated. Why was the officer here?
Tell me about it. Please tell me what happened there that led you to understand that that's what happened, that your rights were violated. Tell me what happened, what actions
Well,
were...
if the officer couldn't come to me and tell me exactly why he was here for whatever reason, there was no laws being broken, there was no reason he was supposed to be at my house, but why he was knocking on my door was a check-in for the USPS officer, I'm guessing. But at that point, the officer didn't bring any proof to me of any reason to be knocking on my door, is all I'm saying. All I'm saying is the officer should have
Did you
never
speak to the
been
officer
there.
that day?
Yeah, I spoke to him, I recorded him.
Okay, good. And so what was the discussion? He told you that he was called there because of the mailman?
No, he told
Or-
me he couldn't divulge whatever information, or whoever called me, he straight up said he couldn't tell me that. And then I told him, I understand why you're here. I have it all on video if you want to see it. It was either the mailman who called me or the person at the residence who I stopped the mailman in front of. The person at the residence made a threat to me, verbal threat, that I then tried to show the officer and then tried to reason with the officer, like, look, if you're over here harassing me on my property for something, you're not going to do anything about, one, the mailman who's weaponizing the police officers against me for no reason, or two, you're not going to do anything about the homeowner on the other block who literally threatened me on camera. And he said, and I quote, the reason he cannot do anything about that threat was because it was an open-ended threat. The threat was, get off my property or else I will call the police. I was not on her property. I was on the sidewalk. I then told her several times to go ahead and call the police, as I know my rights. And the police then stopped off at my house, so I thought it was her. The officer then, after several discussion over talking to me about what had happened, the officer divulged the only reason he was there was to, quote unquote, make sure that the mailman can still deliver the mail. To which I then made a smart-ass remark to the cop saying that was the whole reason I was going to talk to him in the first place, was to make sure he could deliver my mail. But so I'm not sure exactly as to the realm of extent of things, but I know I pay my taxes. I know I've called the officers out to my house several times. They've made no implication to help me out whatsoever. And that the only time the officers ever seem to come around is when they need something or they want to press me down for something. my rights were violated, and unless that cop can tell me why, I would like to press charges against him for even being on my property when I told him to stop trespassing.
Okay. And so is that the basis of your complaint, that the officer was on your property even though you told him not to trespass?
For absolutely no reason, yes. I told him not to trespass on my property. He then moved forward towards me. Pretty much I told him to stop harassing me, and he moved towards me, putting his hand on his belt, by the way, ma'am. Not on his gun, on his belt. He put his, and he, then as soon as he realized the action he made, though, it's all on camera. As soon as he realized he put his hand on his belt, he said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I was just putting my hand over there." No. And I get it. I understand the officer did not want to be recorded. I did not want to record the officer. So I understand why he was sitting there spouting out subsection, article, this or that or whatever that did not pertain to whatever reason he was there harassing me at my house.
Okay. How about we do this? How about I located the incident. What I will tell you is that the mailman, it appears that it was the USPS mailman
Yes.
who called about a disturbance that he was having with you.
I know.
And so the officers were called there, okay? They didn't just randomly show up at your house.
No, I get that.
It appears that way.
But why is the officer coming to my house based on a call the USPS man made? Did the USPS man say I threatened him? Like all these things can be taken into court as defamation, as I did not do anything to that man. I remained so far away from that man as my video that I showed the officer shows.
Okay. Well, the notations on this report do not indicate that the mailman said any of those things, that you made threats or that there was anything else out of... I mean,
So the officer was just stopping in to say hi.
Well, no, but they can't just decide not to handle an incident. Like if somebody calls and they can make efforts to handle the matter, and you're part of it, then it would be required that we ask them to go, at the very minimum, try to make contact with you.
And
So-
how about when I asked the officer to make contact with the other two parties, which also threatened me, by the way, and I do have on video, which the officer then said he can't do anything based on it being an open-ended threat. The quote-unquote...
Can I ask you what it is that you would wanted him to do? Would you have wanted him to make an arrest, or what?
Honestly, I would have just wanted him to walk over to the other house and ask them why they're weaponizing the police. I don't feel safe having my neighbor call the police on me for no reason. I don't feel safe having cops come out to my house, make no police reports on break-ins, and then come out to my house again to harass me based on the USPS man. I know that's not how it looks on paper, but that's exactly what happened.
Okay. So, just so that I understand clearly, the USPS man called our officers there.
Yes.
They went to your house, and you're unhappy that they tried to make contact with you, and then actually did make contact with you as part of the disturbance.
I'm unhappy that they made contact with me on this case. However, in my other violent cases where my house has been broken into and did nothing about that, I am super livid. I would like to sue all of San Antonio Police Department. I would like to go after
Well, you're going to need an attorney for that.
Oh, I know. I know.
Yeah.
I know you
So
you howd your little laws and you protect yourselves. I get that. I know. No lawyer wants to touch that. I will go myself and do that. All I need to know is how to do it. Who am I going to file against? I will file against everyone at San Antonio. I will stand against all of y'all. Right is right and wrong is wrong.
Okay. You have every right to feel that way, sir.
And I have every right to feel that the officers don't need to be stopping by at my house harassing me when they don't protect me.
I will make notation of your phone call today, and I'm not going to tell the officers not to go to your house and handle an incident, because that can actually be a legal issue if, in fact, there is an emergency in your house, and we've instructed the officers not to
There was
show
an
up.
emergency. My house was broken into and y'all didn't do anything, ma'am. 4 times. 4 times. There was an emergency. I don't understand how that... I get you're trying to loop the words around and you're trying to make it to where you've got your case against me in some way, but y'all showed up at my house 4 times. 4 different officers. I have recordings of every single one of them and all the things they said and all the ways they belittled me, berated me, and made me feel like somehow I was the reason my house got broken into. oh, fix that window, you need to do this, you need to fix your back door. No, what I think I need to do is to stop paying taxes and have all the police officers do their job. I'm tired of doing my job and having none of y'all do y'all's jobs. Not to you, and I'm so sorry. You've been wonderful, and you are honestly trying to do your job. You are trying to protect them. I get that. But this is where I'm going to stand, and I will die on that hill. I will go up to that hill, and I'll march up there, and I'll watch all of y'all stare up at me. Y'all can just treat me like the peasant. That's fine. That's fine. I'll work hard. I work hard to pay y'all's taxes. But y'all want to do this to me? It's okay. We get it. I don't need a lawyer. I just need to know how to get in court. I will make y'all look so foolish with all of this evidence. Cops looking like they're stuttering on camera. I feel bad for the guy because I don't want to rub it in his face how he divulged the information he wasn't supposed to. I'm sorry, sir. We can't exactly give that information out to you, but I'm gonna tell you anyway.
Okay, so it sounds like it might be a good time for me to speak.
Okay.
Okay, what is it that you would like me to do regarding this incident on June the 18th and the officer coming to speak with you?
I guess the only thing I need from you maybe is an address or somewhere I can file legal paperwork to start the lawsuit against San Antonio.
That's a civil matter, and you have to contact a civil attorney, sir.
I don't actually need to contact any attorney on that. Y'all should actually provide that information to me. I do not know why that is information you hide and don't provide to the public.
It's not, sir. But if you actually, maybe the courthouse, somebody at 100 Dolorosa, the county courthouse, municipal courthouse, any one of those courthouses might be able to point you in a direction that you can get some assistance as far as a civil case.
So internal affairs, why did I call this number again then? Exactly?
You said that somebody from the FBI told you to call us.
Yes. Because they weren't going to handle this case. Even though it has something directly to do, I guess, with what the Federal Bureau is supposed to do?
How about I do a little bit of explaining? So the USPS man did call the police, and there are notes in the report indicating that there was some kind of disturbance with mail being delivered to your address at 103 Shasta. Okay, he requested that the officer speak to you and advise that in the future. I'm actually going to read you the notes on here. C was contacted and advised me of the disturbance between him and 01. C is going to be the mailman. Okay. C requested I speak with 01 and advised him not to be contacted in the future, as he no longer wishes to have any contact with 01. Okay, so it appears that the mailman did not want to have any contact with you, and he wanted to use the officer to relay that message to you. Okay.
That sounds illegal? That sounds illegal based on the fact that I have done nothing wrong. No. Tell me why my rights are being violated. Why does the USPS man get to call the police, have the police weaponized at my front door?
Okay. I can't tell any civilian not to call the police. Okay, if they need the police for a certain
he's
matter,
not a
they
civilian
call the
actually,
police.
ma'am. When he's a USPS officer on duty, he is not a civilian. I've looked up the laws. I looked up the
United
laws.
States Post Office?
Yes, I know. I know what the
But
laws
in
are.
As far as our terms in the San Antonio Police Department, he's not one of our officers.
No,
So
he's not,
are
but
you
he
civilian?
is a government and a federal
Mr.
employee.
Wilson, I believe that this conversation is not going to go anywhere, and if you continue to be argumentative, I feel like I've answered your questions the best that I can. Based on what you described to me, there is no inappropriate action on part of the officer. Him merely coming to your house to relay a message on part of the postman is not illegal, and he was, based on what your account of the situation was, it appears that he did his job. And so I have not heard anything that would cause me to think anything outside of he just went there, he was called there for a purpose, and that you were part of the incident, and he made contact with you. I mean, you don't have to like it, but you don't have to like that the officers went there, but we cannot have our officers ignore calls.
No, but you can violate my rights several times over. I get that, ma'am. Look, you are right. This is not going to go anywhere. And bye. Have a great day, ma'am. This was all recorded. I hope to see you in court.